Today we're talking about a photo from Taiwan that supposedly shows a translucent alien. That and other space and UFO news right now on Spacing Out. Greetings everyone and welcome to Spacing Out. I'm Jason McClellan.
And I'm Maureen Elsberry. Thanks for joining us for the first episode of 2013.
That's right. It's a new year and we're making some changes to the show. First of all, we're not going to have an interview in every single episode. The show will likely feature a couple interviews every month, but not one in every episode like we've done up to this point.
We'll also be providing more concise news coverage, but still followed by our commentary. These changes will reduce the running time of each episode, which means you won't have to invest so much time each week to listening or watching.
We know that some of you will enjoy the changes to the show, while others might be less than thrilled. Well, after watching today's episode, feel free to let us know what you think.
Well, it's January, and that means the International UFO Congress is swiftly approaching. We'll be talking a lot about the Congress in the coming weeks.
We sure will. We're crazy busy right now getting ready for the Congress, but we'll talk about a lot of that in the coming weeks. But right now, let's talk about some of the things that have been in the news. According to a former British government official, the existence of extraterrestrial life will be confirmed in 2024.
Former British Ministry of Defense UFO investigator Nick Pope recently told the Daily Express newspaper, "I will be controversial and give you an exact year of when I believe first confirmation of contact will be made, and that is 2024.
Yeah, I'd call that controversial, all right. But making predictions about major events like the end of the world or meeting aliens seems popular lately. Jocelyn Bell Burnell, a professor and astrophysicist at the University of Oxford, announced in July 2012, "I do suspect we are going to get signs of life elsewhere, maybe even intelligent life, within the next century." Likewise, Lord Martin Rees, former president of the Royal Society, stated in September 2012 that he believes extraterrestrial life could be found within 40 years. But Nick Pope goes further by stating a specific year.
Although pinpointing the exact year extraterrestrial contact will take place seems hasty, Pope does have a basis for his bold prediction, the Square Kilometre Array telescope. The Daily Express explains that the array will be made up of thousands of radio wave receptors covering 1,900 square miles of the Earth's surface in the Australian outback.
This radio telescope array will be the world's largest and most sensitive radio telescope, reportedly 50 times more sensitive, and will scan the sky 10,000 times faster than any other telescope. So how does the sky array fit into Pope's prediction? Construction is set to begin in 2016, and the array is scheduled to go online in 2024.
Pope's prediction of 2024 as the year the existence of extraterrestrial life will be confirmed seems contingent on the operation of the sky array. He explained to the Daily Express, if there is a civilization within 100 light years, this telescope could find it. We are now beginning to have the technology, whether it's the SCA or maybe other telescopes that are being developed that will allow these possibilities. A recently released photo shows what some believe is a translucent or perhaps transparent extraterrestrial.
The photo was reportedly taken by Chen Yanghuang, a police officer near Jiameng Lake in Taiwan County, Taiwan, on May 14, 2012. The International Business Times reports that this photo was released by the Taiwan Ufology Society, or TUFOS, on December 22, 2012, and has sparked debate between skeptics and believers.
The photo was allegedly taken using an iPhone 4 camera. The photographer reportedly claims that he took a photo of the landscape, but after reviewing the photo, he noticed the odd figure in the distance. He then gave the photo to TUFOS for examination. When zoomed in, the anomaly in this photo appears to be some sort of sci-fi creature that is part human, part frog, and part insect.
According to the Taipei Times, TUFOS has had experts on mobile phone technology, computer imagery, and camera photography inspecting the photo, but no conclusive findings have been reported. Some experts suggest the unidentified object in the photo is a result of superimposed image. Zooming in on the figure in question reveals double exposure lines at its bottom. Photo expert Qian Hongtai says it is possible that a shaking motion when the shot was being taken might have produced the double lines in what might be a leftover image. But he finds it interesting that these double lines only appear in a small section of the photo. The Taipei Times goes on to explain that Qian also compared the pixels of the double lines to the area above the double lines and concluded that they do not differ much, which leads him to believe that it does not appear to be an edited photo.
A recently discovered meteorite provides insight into the ancient atmospheric and geological conditions on Mars.
Scientists have nicknamed the meteorite Black Beauty, but its official name is Northwest Africa 7034, or NWA 7034. This baseball-sized object was discovered in Morocco's Sahara Desert in 2011. Scientists believe NWA 7034 originated from a volcanic eruption on Mars that occurred approximately 2.1 billion years ago, making it one of the oldest known Martian meteorites formed by a volcanic eruption.
According to Russia Today, NWA 7034 contains 10 times the amount of water and far more oxygen than any other Martian samples found on Earth. Scientists theorize that at some point in history, Mars lost its atmosphere, making it the cold, dry desert it is today. NWA 7034 provides evidence of a warm and wet environment in the early history of Mars, thereby supporting this notion.
Space.com explains that the new meteorite comes from the transitional period between these extremes, making it an important find for scientists hoping to learn how the Martian climate change occurred. Researchers published their findings in the January 3rd issue of the online journal Science Express.
A new study by astronomers at the California Institute of Technology concludes that there are likely more than 100 billion planets in the Milky Way galaxy.
The team of Caltech researchers reached this estimate while analyzing planets orbiting the star Kepler-32. Irene Klotz of Discovery News explains the scientists analyzed Kepler-32's structure, compared it with other planetary systems discovered by NASA's Kepler Space Telescope, and sat down to do some math.
The Caltech scientists and other teams of astronomers from earlier studies have estimated that there is roughly one planet per star. But this latest study is the first time researchers have made an estimate like this by studying M-dwarf systems, where the greatest number of planets exist. The new research was published in the Astrophysical Journal.
And on Monday, January 7th, astronomers announced at the American Astronomical Society Conference in Long Beach, California, that Earth-sized planets orbit 1 in 6 stars. Discovery News explains, with about 100 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy, that means there's approximately 17 billion Earth-sized worlds. So Maureen, we have another study here talking about 100 billion planets, and this comes just a few months after a previous study that used a different method to reach this estimate, but it's cool that two different studies reached this same approximate number of 100 billion planets in our solar system.
It's a shocking, well, I guess it's not a shocking amount. I mean, the universe is huge, and we're finding out so many new planets every day that this does not surprise me. I think it just proves that a lot of exciting things are going to happen here going forward with space travel and discovery.
And it's exciting also with the estimate of Earth-sized planets, because that's what scientists look for a lot in looking for habitability, potentially habitable worlds. So that is good news in the search for extraterrestrial life.
It definitely is. Speaking of the search for extraterrestrial life, we've got another prediction, and at least he's saying he's gonna be controversial and go out on a limb here. But Nick Pope coming out and saying that 2024, when the SCA ray is going up, that will be the year that we're going to make first contact. What do you think about this?
Well, you know, we always have these predictions to talk about, and you know, there have been plenty in the past talking about apocalypse and end of the world, and so many things tied in with religion too. But it's interesting, we're to a point now where there really isn't a date out there saying something's going to happen on this date in the future, a date to look forward to. So I don't really know his motivation for throwing it out there. I think people are focusing a little too much on it. Knowing Nick personally, I think he's kind of being funny and just wanted to create headlines there, and he certainly did that. Well,
and we've seen this in the past, unfortunately, with people predicting anything to do with extraterrestrial life, whether it was, you know, when Michael Salla predicted that Obama was going to reveal the extraterrestrial life was here already, and that came and gone, and I haven't heard anything about him since then. It's kind of like the fall off the radar thing to predict dates. But
it's a dangerous game to play. But, I mean, it's not a long shot, but I will say this to Nick. I think the likelihood of us finding evidence of extraterrestrial life is coming much sooner than that. Because look at all the things we talk about on this show, all of the missions that are lined up, all these plans to go and colonize Mars, colonize the moon. And these things are all happening most likely before 2024. And we've got finding 17 billion Earth-like planets and Curiosity on Mars right now looking for signs of extraterrestrial life. These are things that are happening right now. I don't know. I think 2024 is pretty far out there. I think it's coming a lot sooner.
I would like to note that you said that we don't have an apocalyptic date to look forward to.
Well, it seems like some people do look forward to those dates.
It gives them something to.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, anyways.
Well, thank you for pointing that out.
Can we please talk about this translucent alien photo? It's a nice photo anomaly, but I don't think it's an alien.
It's an interesting photo, and I'm not sure, looking at it, whether or not it's a superimposed image or just a part of the photo that is completely blown out. To me, looking at it, when I first saw the headlines, sure, my mind put together the image and said, oh, look, you can see he's got this praying mantis head, and he's got these crazy, like, frog arms, and crazy stuff. But looking at it again and looking at it close up, you can really see sort of an outline of a face, and it looks like perhaps a guy with a hat on, and he's just walking along, like looking at the camera and carrying something like, I don't know, a fish or something, kind of walking up the hill.
Yeah, definitely. Once you pointed that out to me the other day, I was like, oh yeah, I definitely see that. But, and I know somebody had commented on whether it was an app for the iPhone, and I don't think that's the case, because they do have apps that you can put ghostly images in the background, or we even took a photo of me pointing at a UFO in the parking lot back in 2009.
Well, and I'm glad you bring that up right now, because there was recently a case submitted to MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network. I forget where it was. It might have been somewhere in California. But somebody submitted this case to MUFON with a couple of photos, and there was a saucer-shaped UFO in the sky above the traffic. Very clear photo, and that particular UFO is one of the many UFOs on one of these particular iPhone apps. And it's probably the one we had you pointing to in your picture.
Yeah, maybe we can dig that one up for you guys.
Yeah, just to show it. So yeah, there are these apps, but in the case of the transparent, translucent alien, I don't think that's the case. And people will say, you know, digital photography, you can't have superimposed images. That's certainly not true. There can be leftover ghost images and things with the flashcards, and it happens all the time. But with the expert talking about these double lines and the pixels around it and things, I don't necessarily know how much you can learn from that. And digital photography is controversial depending on what experts you talk to. Mm-hmm. But take an image and copy it off of the internet. Take it into Photoshop, zoom in on it, and for example, I'll say with the meteorite from Mars, that's a great one, because I noticed this myself. You take it, bring it into Photoshop, zoom in on it, and because it's a compressed image for the web, you're going to see all sorts of artifacts in that photo. Around the edges of the meteorite, in this case, you can see these double lines. And that doesn't mean it's a superimposed image or something going on with the image. That's just the crammed up pixels and compression that happens when you're saving an image for the web. You see these distortions in the image. So
I'm sure we'll see our fair share of photo anomalies sent in this year, but that's what we're starting the year off with in the news.
That's right. Well, that's all for this episode of Spacing Out. Be sure to visit our website, openminds.tv, for all the latest news.
We always enjoy your feedback, so we encourage you to post your comments below the video on YouTube, and you can always email us at contact@openminds.tv. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Maureen Elsberry.
And I'm Jason McClellan. We will see you in the future.